But when someone starts sending body parts to her front door, the message is clear. I know who you are. I feel like there's a lot of messages when dead body parts start showing up on your front door. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter I Converse and welcome to November new releases. If you guys have been here, you know I love a new release video more than anything. So we are getting towards the end of the year, November, obviously. So the number of books that are coming out is decreasing a bit, but we have a baker's dozen this month. So honestly, all thrillers, I want to say, or thriller adjacent, thriller vibes. 'Tis the season, not mad about it. And already there's like 3 books that I want to start immediately. So let's get into it. We're going to dive right in with Where He Left Me by Nicole Bart. And we have newlyweds and the husband disappears and leaves his wife in an isolated area in Washington's North Cascades. Like isolated thriller, missing husband, who knows? We're all good. In this book, we are with Sadie and Felix. So they are college professors. They are on sabbatical and they go to Hemlock House, which is located on a remote mountain, ding dong. And it is a homestead established years ago by Felix's family. So Felix takes off for a work trip and doesn't come back, leaving Sadie all alone and her entire world crumbling down upon her. So frantic Sadie, wouldn't you be, struggles to make sense of what her missing astronomer husband left behind, forced to confront 2 mysterious trespassers, just as a powerful storm bears down, isolated location, weather. Sadie and the strangers have no choice but to ride it out together. Woof, that's going to be trouble. And as conditions worsen and shocking secrets are revealed, as they tend to be in a thriller, Sadie has to face whether or not she ever knew the man she married, and she is absolutely fighting for survival now. So it says compelling emotional thriller. So she writes a lot of suspense. This is her 11th book. And I, love an isolated setting. I love when weather messes it up for everyone. Super suspect of these trespassers. So gonna have to tune in and find out what happens. It's always very like, you thought you knew who you married, but you didn't. Okay. Another author who is huge on the isolated thriller, but this one's a little bit different, as in not an isolated thriller. This is The Perfect Host by Heather Gudenkauf. I am so remiss on reading Heather, and this is something I am working to correct. So this one might be the one to kick it off for me. We have as you can tell by the cake, we have a gender reveal party. That's gonna go really, really wrong. I love a premise of a book. So is it a boy? Is it a girl? They would die to know. I'm guessing the knife stuck in the middle of that cake means somebody's gonna get it. So Madeline and Wes have invited 200 of their closest friends and family to their sprawling horse ranch for the most anticipated event of the year, a Pistols and Pearls gender reveal party. So sensational, it is sure to make headlines. This definitely sounds like a sorority event. But the party descends into chaos when celebratory explosives misfire, leaving one woman dead and a trail of secrets. Yep. I'm going to say a Pistols and Pearls party. Never a good idea. Gonna go out on a limb there. So as the aftershocks of the bloody party, this is not funny, but I'm on a lot of cold medicine. Okay. As the aftershocks of the bloody party ripple across the small town, Agent Jamie Saldano is brought on the scene to investigate. Battling his own demons from the past, Saldano unearths a web of deceit spun around the Drakes. The appearance of some unexpected house guests only deepens the mystery. And as tensions mount, it becomes clear that the explosion wasn't just an unlucky accident, but who was the target and why? As the shadow of a killer looms, the happy parents-to-be must unravel the truth before it's too late. I mean, like, not really Hunting Wives vibes, but like kind of Hunting Wives vibes. Just, I'm picturing the Netflix series, the opening party scene where it's just like all the people and just everybody's got a gun. So not a spoiler. There's not like some crazy explosion, but like I'm envisioning that party, but a gender reveal. I mean, 200 people. I don't know 200 people. Never mind would I invite 200 people to anything. Okay. Then we are moving on to one of my favorites, Little Dark Academia. So we have With Friends Like These by Alyssa Lee. Anyone who is wondering how my dark academia season is going, well, you know, I haven't done Samantha yet, but we still have time. Any time is good. Any time is good. Okay. This is a group of Harvard alums have played a secret game for decades, but as the stakes rise, deadly consequences emerge from old lies. This is a debut thriller, yeehaw, which probably would have been a better phrase to say with the last one, and I'm in. So Harvard promised them everything. Ambitious futures, peers who pushed each other toward their absolute best, and an education that would open doors for the rest of their lives. And though they started out as roommates, Sarah, B, Dina, Allie, Wesley, and Claudine soon became family. Totally relatable. They had their whole world, they had their whole bright lives ahead of them until their senior year when a shocking tragedy changed everything. Little in my dreams. 20 years later, 5 of the roommates still indulge in a secret tradition they've kept alive since their campus, the circus. So anybody who was here last month might recall me having a hard time with the typos. And look at me going back to the typo lane. Okay, let me just switch websites because there seems to be a typo. Okay. Yep, absolutely a typo. All right. 20 years later, 5 of the roommates still indulge in a secret tradition they've kept alive since their campus days, the circus. A harmless elimination-style killing game played across the private rooms and hidden alleys of New York City. The game is a nod to their younger selves and a tribute to the 6th roommate they lost too young. But this year, Sarah wants out of the game until she discovers there is a small fortune awaiting the winner of this final round. What now? As the circus unfolds, Sarah begins to suspect that the others aren't playing by the rules. And as the danger turns real and the old friends start pointing fingers, she discovers that even those closest to her harbor secrets of their own, secrets that could kill. Ruth Ware blurbed it. Deliciously twisty, a heady mix of dark academia, spiraling stakes, and tangled loyalties. I do love a complicated friendship, toxic female friendship, toxic, complicated, like mixed friendship, all of it, just all of it. Like all of it. Give it all to me. Although I will say I sadly was listening to a podcast. It was an older podcast, but still, where an author admitted that the blurbs that she gives sometimes are not authentic, and the only books she genuinely promotes are ones that you see on her Instagram. And I am absolutely somebody who, when I see like Ruth Ware blurbed a book, I'm like, ooh, maybe this book is for me because I love Ruth Ware and Ruth Ware loved this, so therefore A plus B equals, 1 plus 2 equals 3. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. You know what I mean? So I'm not so naive to think that like all blurbs are created equally. Sidebar. Made me sad. So it makes me question blurbs now, as I probably should have this entire time. Okay, let's move into a nonfiction by the one and only Margaret Atwood. This is Book of Lives, a memoir of sorts. At the risk of repeating myself, if you've been here for a beat, you know I love me some Margaret Atwood. I have watched some biographies on her. I have read a whole mess of her books, and I am super curious about this. Oh my gosh, it's 624 pages. I not so secretly hope that she narrates the audiobook because I would love that, but let's just see a little bit of an overview. So, how does one of the greatest storytellers of our time write her own life? A long-awaited memoir from one of our most lauded and influential cultural figures. Her books are everything. When I read The Handmaid's Tale in college, like I feel like so much of my brain, mind, world flipped. Every writer is at least 2 beings, the one who lives and the one who writes. Though everything written must have passed through their minds or mind, they are not the same. Raised by ruggedly independent, scientifically minded parents, entomologist father, dietitian mother, Atwood spent most of each year in the wild forest of northern Quebec. This childhood was unfettered and nomadic, sometimes isolated. On her 8th birthday, quote, "It sounds forlorn, it was forlorn, it gets more forlorn," but also thrilling and beautiful. From this unconventional start, Atwood unfolds the story of her life, linking seminal moments to the books that have shaped our literary landscape, from The Cruel Year That Spawned Cat's Eye, which I love, to the Orwellian 1980s Berlin where she wrote The Handmaid's Tale. In pages bursting with bohemian gatherings, her magical life with the wildly charismatic writer Graham Gibson. In major political turning points, we meet poets, bears, Hollywood actors, and larger-than-life characters straight from the pages of an Atwood novel. As we travel with her along the course of her life, more and more is revealed about her writing, the connections between real life and art, and the workings of one of our greatest imaginations. I'm just really excited for this. I just think she's phenomenal. I think her books are phenomenal, and I would love to take the time, make the time to reread some of her original, like, books that originally made me fall in love with her, like Cat's Eye, like Robber Bride. Just love them so, so very much. And yeah, so calling all Margaret Atwood fans. She has a book coming out. And then we have Cursed Daughters by Yankin Braithwaite. So she wrote My Sister the Serial Killer, and I got to see her at Thriller Fest this year. She was one of the spotlight guests. So I got to see her speak twice and loved listening to her talk about her writing. And she talked about this book and that it was coming out, and here it is, like magic. Fast forward a few months and we have a brand new book. So we have a young woman must shake off a family curse and the widely held belief that she is the reincarnation of her dead cousin in this wickedly funny, brilliantly perceptive novel about love, female rivalry, and superstition. When Eben gives birth to her daughter, Enie, on the day they bury her cousin Monif, there is no denying the startling resemblance between the child and the dead woman. So begins the belief, fostered and fanned by the entire family, that Enie is the actual reincarnation of her, fated to follow in her footsteps in all ways, including that tragic end. There is also the matter of the family curse. Quote, "No man will call your house his home, and if they try, they will not have peace," which has been handed down from generation to generation, breaking hearts and causing 3 generations of abandoned Faludan women to live under the same roof. So, of course, we know she is going to fall in love, the handsome boy that she saves from drowning. She can no longer run from her family's history. As several women in her family have done before, she ill-advisedly seeks answers in older, darker spiritual corners of Lagos, demanding solutions. Is she destined to live out the habitual story of love and heartbreak, or can she break the pattern once and for all, not only avoiding the spiral that led Monif to her lonely death, but liberating herself from all the family secrets and unspoken traumas that have dogged her steps since before she could remember? So superstition, humor, hard-won wisdom, romantic love, and familial obligation. My Sister the Serial Killer was so good. I really, really enjoyed that book, and I really enjoyed her writing, so I will definitely be checking this out. And I am intrigued. I love some superstition. I do love some drama with the family, and I love humor. So very excited for this one. Then we have the 3rd book in the Maxton Hall series, and this is Save Us. So book number 1 is Save Me. Book number 2 is Save You, which I talked about when it came out this summer. And then we have Save Us. And these books were originally written in German. They have just been translated into English, the 3 books kind of over the course of this year. And the first book has already been made into an Amazon Prime show, and I believe the second one is coming. So this is just also like a fun boarding school, rich people behaving so badly, the outsider, just all of the good stuff. So I feel like book number 3 is a little hard because it's going to give stuff away from the first 2. So I know the story of the first one because I watched the TV show. I haven't read the second book yet, but Save Us. Let me see if there's anything in here that might not be spoilery. So it's romance, it's college age, and it's the 3rd and final book in the best-selling Maxton Hall series. And it says, can they save themselves or will they destroy each other? So I kind of feel like let's not read this description just in case people don't want to know what happens. So the first book in the series, setting everything up. So we have Ruby Bell, who is the outsider. Again, she goes to this very bougie boarding school, and she discovers a scandalous secret about the Beaufort family, who are like the end-all be-all family. And James Beaufort is that guy. And she suddenly finds herself on his radar. They wind up having to work together on a project. And as you can guess, romance blooms between them, but nothing comes easily. And, you know, the series takes off from there. So I do have Save You, and now Save Us is coming out, so we can all check it out. And then the last book I have for November 4th is by one of my all-time favorite authors who wrote one of my all-time favorite books. We have In the Bones by Tessa Wiegert. This is a new series that she is just starting. This is the North Country novel series, and it takes place in the same place as the Shane and Merchant series, Thousand Islands, but it is, and like there will be some crossover characters, but you don't have to have read the Shane and Merchant series to read this one. So I am very excited to see sort of what Tessa is going to do starting fresh with this series. I'm also obsessed with this cover. And we have the arrival of a celebrity athlete. We have a remote peninsula. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it. So it says it's almost summer in Cape Vincent. And as the heat rises, ex-professional ice hockey superstar Mikko Heli arrives, ready to move into his extravagantly renovated waterfront home. Mikko is 30, handsome and wealthy. He is a stranger in town. There's no reason to suspect Mikko is anything other than what he seems. Local married mother of two, Nicole Durham, works her connections hard to get hired as his cleaner. She needs this job, and not just because of the money. Nicole is desperate to expose a secret, and she's running out of time. Interesting. But when Nicole disturbs an intruder while cleaning, New York State Police investigator Tim Wellington, who's in the Shayna series, discovers that the luxury mansion is hiding its own unthinkable truth. Deep in the basement lies the bones of a young woman, identity unknown. The celebrity athlete, the local, the thief, everyone is hiding something. But someone in North County's a ruthless killer, and one of these three knows exactly who it is. I mean, honestly, the bones in the basement, identity unknown, give it to me, Tessa. I am so excited for this book. I have an e-arc of this. I will get to it. I will get to it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Death in the Family, her first book, is one of my all-time favorites, and this like mansion isolated-ish vibe is giving me a little bit of a Death in the Family feel, and I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. And while not currently obsessed with ice hockey, when I went to college, I'd never seen an ice hockey game before. We just like didn't have it where I grew up, and it became an obsession because it was just like all the rage at college. And I went to so many games, Beanpot, the whole nine, and you know, kind of simmered for a bit. And then I read Beartown and I remembered why I loved it. So again, I'm here for the hockey of it all, and I'm here for the Tessa of it all. So anyway, In Her Bones, love the cover. November 4th. Now we are going to move into 11/11. Make a wish, you guys. There's 2 books coming out on this date. Like, what a great pub day. So the first one is The Forest of Missing Girls by Nichelle Giraldes. This cover is what got me. I'm so easy. Like, I've talked about this many a times. I'm a marketer's dream, but the cover of this book and the title of this book, let's be honest, I was like, okay. So this one, I think, I don't know if it leans a little horror, but it says the forest is hungry and her family's secrets are tangled in the trees. Leah Gregg always hoped to outgrow her fear of the woods surrounding her childhood home. The dark, menacing trees have long been the site of whispered legends and disappearances of girls like her. But after a breakup sends her back to live with her family, the woods feel more sinister than ever. When a teenage girl disappears from their backyard, Leah's childhood fear becomes terrifyingly real. The missing girls are no longer just faces in the news. Now the danger is closer than she imagined, and her younger sister could be next. As Leah digs into the disappearances, she begins to suspect her mother knows more about the forest and the horrors within than she's letting on. To save her sister and uncover the truth, Leah must confront the secrets lurking in the trees and the darkness they conceal before it's too late. Yes, please. And thank you. That sounded like weirdly Jim Carrey, which I was not going for. All right, let's keep it serious. Keep it serious. This is, because my brain is more muddled than usual today. This, I mean, it feels like a little All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda from forever ago, which is still my favorite of her books, the first one of hers that I read. I tend to have a lot of a soft spot for first books I read by an author, but it's giving me something else and I can't place it. Like I can see it, but I can't place it. I need to go look in the other room and get a book. Hold on. Found it. Jackal by Aaron E. Adams. I don't know if anybody remembers when I read this a couple years ago, but this also had the woods, it's watching, it's talking, it's your turn. This was such a deliciously creepy book as well. Why did I not put a tab in the front of when I read it? I bought this like right after it came out. This came out in 2022, but this was a great like horror, super creepy vibe of a book, and kind of same thing, girls gone missing, and it's all about the woods, and it's creepy as can be. So sidebar, unrelated, but kind of giving a similar vibe. Okay, and then the second book, hold, for November 11th, I have one non-thriller on my list. This was sent to me by Berkeley. This is Next Time Will Be Our Turn by Jessie Q. Sutanto, the one, the only, the woman who can do it all and then some. So not a thriller, still super intrigued. And we have a grandmother tells her granddaughter about her twisty, often surprising journey to who she is now in the sweeping love story. So we have Izzy Chen. She is dreading her family's annual Chinese New Year celebration, where they all come together at a Michelin star restaurant to flaunt their statuses and successes in hopes to one-up one another. So when her 73-year-old glamorous and formidable grandmother walks in with a stunning woman on her arm and kisses her in front of everyone, it shakes Izzy to the core. She's always considered herself the black sheep of the family for harboring similar feelings to the ones her Nene just displayed. Seeing herself in her teenage granddaughter's struggles with identity and acceptance, Magnolia Chen tells Izzy her own story of how as a teen she was sent by her Indo-Chinese parents from Jakarta to Los Angeles for her education and fell in love with someone completely forbidden by both her culture and gender norms, Ellery, an American college student who became Magnolia's best friend and the love of her life. Stretching across decades and continents, Magnolia's star-crossed love story reveals how life can take unexpected turns, but ultimately lead you to exactly who you're meant to be. I do love a who you're meant to be story. And you guys know, normally I'm not great with historical-ish timelines. Let me see if I can find out how deep we're going here when it comes to the history. 1999. Like, how old is her grandmother? I'm acting like, okay, 1998. Love me some 90s. I mean, if we're getting into the 80s, I'm all good. I see a lot of 98. I see some 99. We're good. In my head, I'm like, are we going to be in like 1940? Do the math, Audrey. We are not. So anyway, I'm really excited about this. And I have read a bunch of Jessie's books, but I'm excited to read something non-thrillery from her because, again, she can do it all and she can do it flawlessly. So very excited for this and very grateful to Berkeley for sending it to me. So again, November 11th, 11/11, make a wish, friends. And yeah, check it out. Now we are going to move into November 18th. I've got two books for this date as well. And the first one is Made You Look by Tanya Grant. Getting a lot of hot pink vibes, or two books with hot pink on the cover. So this one way up my alley as well. We've got a group of influencers. Isolated location in the Catskills. We've got a snowstorm. Things are going to go poorly. And the tagline on this says it's kill or be canceled. I do love an influencer book. So a Catskills retreat turns deadly for the group of influencers, and it says when a snowstorm cuts them off from their greatest resource, their followers, just as a killer strikes. So another debut thriller. In this one, we are following Sydney Kent. She is the ultimate it girl. You want her effortless style, her charisma, her hair. You want to be her. You want to be with her. But the trouble with the star is that everyone else looks dull in comparison. This is also giving me You Will Never Be Me by Jessie Q. Sutanto vibes. So great influencer book. Back to this one. Despite Caitlin's social media cunning, it's impossible for her to step out of Sydney's shadow. Even Lucy, Sydney's best friend since before her fame, can't escape her role as full-time photographer to the influencer. When the women are invited to post content for a secluded new retreat in the Catskills, alongside Sydney's boyfriend Jeff, stylish Nash, and manager Brent, the weekend feels like it will be a fresh start. But, you know, here comes the snowstorm and the loss of cell service, and there goes the Wi-Fi, and hey, we're all stuck and there's no way out, and a killer strikes. So the dream trip becomes a nightmare, and secrets, lies, and scandals are forced to the surface, And they all start to think, there's a murderer amongst us, and who is it and why? I feel like we're getting in the season of the isolated snowstormy vibe, which I'm totally here for. And, I used to be a Catskills kid. We used to have that experience. So not a private cabin, but like a Catskills resort. Anybody else? Place to be at a certain time. Anyway, I'm super interested in it. It sounds fun. It sounds like a good bingey kind of book and a good seasonally bingey kind of a book. So sign me all the way up. Sign me all the way up. Okay. And then we have the next book that I'm kind of desperate to read. And I hate to say it because I'm going to jinx it. Hold on. And when I say I hate to say it, it's just like you guys know, when I make a TBR, everything goes sideways. So we're going to say I'm going to read it when I'm going to read it. But this was also gifted to me by Berkeley. This is Haven't Killed in Years by Amy K. Green. This one looks also straight up my alley. We have No One Knows Serial Killers Like She Does. Should this be music to my ears? Probably, it says a lot about me. No one is supposed to know harmless office worker Gwen Tanner is the vanished daughter of a serial killer, Abel Haggerty. But a low profile and a new name aren't going to cut it when an obsessive new killer starts targeting her. Similar but different to The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark, which I loved. Okay, Maren Haggerty was only a child when they arrested her father. Also Flicker in the Dark. Ripped from her home and given a new identity, Maren disappeared. 20 years later, Gwen Tanner keeps everyone at a distance, preferring to satirize the world around her than participate in it. It's for her safety and theirs. But when someone starts sending body parts to her front door, the message is clear. I know who you are. I feel like there's a lot of messages when dead body parts start showing up on your front door. To preserve her secrets, Gwen must hunt down the killer, a journey that immerses her in the twisted world of true crime fandom and makes her confront her past once and for all. Maybe she is capable of deep human connections, but she's not the only one keeping secrets. Will opening herself up to others help her find the killer, or remind her why it was necessary she hide her true self in the first place? The apple never falls far from the tree, after all. And my hand raised was like, I'm here for the true crime vibe of it all. So, yes, please. May I have another? I do enjoy a serial killer book. And there's that piece of my little brain that's like, this is the one I'm going to read next. This is the one I'm going to read next. So stay tuned. I will definitely be reading it soon. I'm about halfway through a book right now. So already, shiny new thing syndrome. And we'll see what happens when I get here. But I'm very excited for this. I believe this is also a debut. So again, thank you, Berkeley, very, very much for this one. I am super jazzed for this book. And I will let you guys know when I read it. But I also love the front. It's like a ripped picture of her and her dad. It's tough stuff. It's tough stuff. November 18th. Look for it. Okay. And then we are going to round out the month with 2 more books. All right. I'm going to save my book number 3 for last. I'm going to save it for last. So book number 2. No. First book coming out on the 25th is One Small Mistake by Dandy Smith. I absolutely am intrigued by this one as well, but I think the next one might be the one I read next. Anyway, okay, One Small Mistake. Let's give Dandy her due. This is sisters. We've got some disappearances. We've got some dark and messed up stuff going on here. And, I am all the way in for this one. One small mistake, one deadly consequence. So the blurb on this says, she couldn't escape her perfect sister. He couldn't resist the perfect crime. Bum, bum, bum. Elodie Frey wants to be more like her perfect sister Ada, the one her parents are actually proud of. When she decided to quit her job and pursue her dream of becoming an author, she thought it would be her time to shine. But a year on, nothing has happened, and she's getting desperate. When Elodie makes one small mistake on a drunken night with a friend, happens, things quickly spiral, and suddenly everyone believes she has a book deal. Whoops. Unable to find a way back from her little lie, her perfect dream becomes a perfect nightmare, and desperate times call for desperate measures. Meanwhile, not everything is as it seems in Ada Archer's perfect life. When her sister suddenly disappears, she questions everything, from her marriage to the man who's been charged with Elodie's abduction. The papers say it's him, but the more she digs into her sister's life, the less convinced she is. Ada will do anything to discover the truth, even if it kills her. No one knows what happened to Elodie Frey, and now her only chance of survival is her sister. Let's go. Let's go. This is giving me the softest echo of Wendy Walker's The Night Before, which was a sister book. One of them goes missing. The other one has to figure out like what is going on. But I mean, lying about that book deal, girl, things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. So I'm intrigued. I'm curious. And I will be, you know, keeping one eye open for this one. And then the last book I have for November, and the book I think I might read next. Don't quote me. We'll see where we're at next time you guys check in with me. This is Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cascino. I have an e-arc of this. I was like getting ready to read the new Claire McIntosh book, which also has a real estate vibe to it. This one might grab me first. We shall see. We shall see. We have 18 months and 11 lost bidding wars into house hunting in the Washington, D.C. suburbs. 37-year-old publicist Margot Miyake gets a tip about the perfect house in the perfect neighborhood, slated to come up for sale in 1 month. Desperate to escape the cramped apartment she shares with her husband Ian, and in turn get their marriage, plan to have a baby, and whole life back on track, Margot becomes obsessed with buying the house before it's publicly listed, and the masses descend with unbeatable all-cash offers in hand. It is tough out there, friends. So, a little stalking? Harmless. A bit of trespassing? Necessary. As Margot infiltrates the homeowners' lives, her tactics grow increasingly unhinged. Love it. But when she thinks she's won them over, she hits a snag in her plan. Undeterred, she'll prove again and again that there's no boundaries she won't cross to seize the dream life she's been chasing. I get that feeling of losing places and desperate to do anything you can to get in on one. I know nothing about nothing. This kind of screams Book of the Month to me. I hope it's a Book of the Month selection. I don't know if it's just because like First Lie Wins is in my head and Best Offer Wins is just nothing's the same, but kind of is giving me that same like energetic like jolt about it. I don't know. I feel like there has been a lot of press around this one and it's a debut. I just think it's just, I don't know. It just has everything that I am super into. It really just feels like it's going to be dark and funny and I'm here for it. It's also not that long, so it feels like it could be a great binge book. Depending on when you guys see this, I will be on a plane at some point and this could be a great plane book. So don't get excited. It's a work trip. Not doing anything fun. Don't make no mistake. Make no mistake. But anyway, okay. Best Offer Wins, Marissa Cascino. This is the last book I have for the month, so let's talk about that, not me. And there you have it. There you have it. So November, like I said, things are slowing down a bit. There's a ton of books coming out. This is my list of what intrigues me, mostly thrillers, and I'm excited for them. So reading continues to be a bit slow. Does not stop my obsession with wanting to read new books, with being excited about new books that are coming out. And yeah, you guys are just gonna have to stay tuned and watch, and let's see how this month unfolds. But it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. And yeah, that's what I've got for today. So let me know, you guys, which books in November are you most excited about? Has anybody read any of these yet? Tell me all the things. And yeah, let me know what I didn't talk about that you would like to read, because again, there's a cajillion of them. So on that note, we're gonna call it a video, and I will see you guys in another one. Again, thank you to everyone who's been watching the unhaul. I've got some more unhauls coming, and just gonna pepper those in between other videos that I'm doing. But I got rid of a lot of books, you guys, and there's still another shelf to go. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in that. All right, anyway, I'm gonna go. Talk to you guys later. Bye.